think a lot of people think of channeling as being a modern phenomenon, but in actuality, there aren't any primitive civilizations that didn't have spiritual go-betweens, individuals who, either through shamanistic efforts or through trance, would bring messages from the world of spirit to the individuals who were dwelling in body. The Egyptians had their dream channelers. The Chinese, they called their trance channels Wu. The Greek oracles of Dodona and Delphi, they invoked trance to bring messages to individuals about their relationships, about their families, about war, about politics, everything that you could imagine to steer a society. In fact, Moses was a channel. He virtually channeled the first 5 books of the Pentateuch. It's reported that Tsar Alexander and Abraham Lincoln, at the very same time, in 1861, were provided messages from the unseen to free the serfs and the slaves. And of course, there's the Nichung oracle, the Tibetan oracle that to this day is utilized by the Dalai Lama in the process of planning, future pacing, understanding the world, understanding the political situation, understanding what is needed for his people, his community. So it is a long and rich history of individuals who play a certain role in society. And it's really only in the last few decades that channeling has had so much attention put on it that it has become a really divided matter for people who consider themselves to be more scientific based, more rationally based. They cannot accept the idea that there is a spirit or another frequency that can actually animate a body and provide information that is of value. Whereas those individuals who fundamentally accept that there is a realm beyond the physical that we interact with all the time and that can provide us with profound guidance, comfort, can provide us with wisdom, and can help us grow. Those individuals, for them, channeling is one of those things that they consider to be a given. So into that particular context, I would like to add what I consider to be the most important perspective about channeling. And that is that it is really simply an illustration. It's a metaphor. So what I mean by that is that when you listen to someone who is in trance or who is co-conscious, bringing through the wisdom of another entity or entities, what you are actually witnessing is what you are capable of doing yourself. So the genesis for me of the work that I do with Solano was that I knew several people who were gifted psychics and mediums and channels. And it was fascinating to me. I was young and really trying to find my way in the world. And at one point, this one really beloved friend of mine who was a psychic, and she would allow me to call her and to ask her questions for a while. And then there was one moment where she was really very busy and just didn't have the time for me. And I called her and I asked the question that was burning inside of me. And she said, "I don't have time right now. Sit down and ask your own spirit for the answer." And I realized in that moment that that's all that I wanted. All I wanted was to be able to access my own guidance. Guidance that transcended my ego, guidance that transcended my linear mind, my mind that constantly would battle with itself, saying, yes, this, no, that. And so I did exactly what she suggested. And it was astonishing to me that when I quieted myself and I asked, the information immediately came. And so that became my prayer. That became my mantra. I want to know my soul, my spirit, my direct access to the unseen. All of my meditations, all of my contemplations, every bit of my life began to focus on that. Even when I was exercising or when I was walking through Central Park, I was living in New York at the time. That was everything that my consciousness was directed toward. It's what got me out of New York City. It's what took me to the Pacific Northwest. And it was there, if you've read the first book, that I really first heard the voice of Solano. But there's something I want to add to this. And it's really, really important. I've come to understand through my years of going into trance, deep trance, where I don't have a recollection of what is said in session. I've come to understand that there is no separation between me and Solano, between me and the divine, between me and you, between me and everything that we perceive as life, as human life. All the cosmos. I am one with that. And it is only my sense of separation that causes me to say, I am me, you are you. I am me, and Solano is other. Now, how this then plays out into what you are going to experience when you listen to Solano is this. Early on, one of the very first times that I sat with two friends, went into trance, and invited Solano to come through. There was a moment where the conversation became very animated. There was laughter and fun that was going on. And I felt myself as though from a great distance trying to press in to join the fun. Why wouldn't I? And internally I heard Solano say to me, release the body. So in that moment, I did as I was asked. I turned and I receded from the conversation. And when I asked Solano about this later, he said to me, if we are going to do this work, then when you go into that place where you release the ego, you must remain in that neutrality. So again, what I understand about that now is that too is metaphor. It's metaphor for opening myself to the divine and not coloring it, not influencing it, not bringing my ego into it. So this is what you get when you listen to Solano. And I continue to evolve and grow with this work. And most of all, what I've come to understand as I grow and evolve is that each and every one of us, as the quantum physicists say, we are both particle and wave. In other words, we are fixed in our bodies. But in actuality, at the very same moment, we are a pattern that is constantly in motion and therefore capable of changing, capable of fully awakening in our dream so that we become one with all that is.